Well, we've got seatings done. We're going to work on getting the grain drill cleaned out. Jared's replacing front motor mounts on this 900. And I thought I would do a little bit of a walk around of this Bobcat skid steer, because so many of you have asked how the machine has been. But we're getting tractors ready for silage, blade frame on the 9520, and or the blade rather. We've got to get the blade on the 9410 yet. But this is our Bobcat T66 skid steer, and we have had it for a couple of months now. It's got just over 600 hours on it, and it's coming in for an oil change. We do have another skid steer over there, but that's a rental unit, T76. But this Bobcat unit, the only thing that we've had to do to it is swap out the tires on it. The original tires only went about maybe 200 hours or something like that. They just didn't last. But we've got the Galaxy Hulks on it now, and yeah, they do really well. I think they're a Galaxy Hulk. They might be, yeah, they are the Galaxy Hulks. There is another brand of tire that makes a tire with that same pattern. We've gotten those before too. So once he gets done washing this, we'll get it in the shop, and we'll do more of a walk around on it. This one comes with a permanent operator. All right, this one comes with a permanent operator. Yeah. So, all right. What are your thoughts of the Bobcat? Yeah. But this machine we just used to push feed in with, and that's what we generally do with the new machine, or the newest one. However, we did buy another Kubota skid steer. We bought a SSV 75, and the reason why we went with a Kubota was because we had bought in a couple other Kubota units, and we got a volume discount with buying the Kubota, and they told us that the 75 model had a different engine in it than the 65, and this Bobcat ended up being a little more money at the end of the day. But we're not opposed to not buying a Bobcat again. I'm sure we will buy another one, but the only reason why we bought the Kubota was because of the price. But so far, that Bobcat's been a real good machine. So once they get that inside here, we'll show a little more of it in depth. But this Bobcat has hand and foot controls, and that was one of the reasons why we went with the Bobcat. The Bobcat, along with the Kubotas, have the hand and foot controls. However, you've seen us open the door, and the door on the Bobcat opens like all the other ones do, out sideways. And no, we aren't going to buy a JCB. So, alright, so I misspoke. When they were out washing this machine off, or rinsing it off, they had already had the oil changed on this, so the service has been done on this machine. So I didn't get to actually participate in the oil change event, but it seems somewhat decent to be able to work on. You got your air filter right there. You got your oil filter down in on the left-hand side of the engine. And then the starter, we just had to put a starter on a 326 John Deere skid steer the other day, and what a pain in the ass that is. But the starter is right there. You could access that relatively easy. AC compressor is right down here on the left side. However, the alternator must be underneath this cover here somewhere. Yeah, it's got to be underneath the cover. Maybe we can get this to come off. Yeah, looks like we can pull that off. Get into the accessory drive belt area. Yeah, if I can do it with one hand. All right, yeah, you can get in there. The alternator is right there on the top side. So that gives you even more room to get into the goodies that are in there. We got to get this back on there now. So, yeah. All right, let me get this back on and we'll get back with the rest of this here. All right, took two hands to be able to get that cover back on, but looks like the alternator, the starter, the compressor are relatively easy to get to. Fuel filter, air filter like I was saying, and then the radiators on the top, they were blowing that out earlier. Now we have problems from time to time with the attachment on the John Deere skid steers. And it looks like this one here, if you had a problem with the, looks like we got a locking cylinder right there. And then of course, you still have the manual handles, so you could just unbolt. Well, it might not be that easy. But at any rate, you could probably just undo the hoses and power that cylinder manually by hand if you had a problem. But usually usually the problems that we have with the John Deere skid steer is a wire related problem. And I suppose if you had a hose blow on this, all it's going to do is just keep leaking oil anyway, so I guess that ain't gonna help you at all. But in the event that you wanted to take the cylinder off, cap the hoses, put a shorter bolt back in there to lock up to your spring pins and whatever, I guess that would work. But I'm kind of wondering if we shouldn't take the automatic locks off of all of our buckets, because I think a lot of the problems that we have are operator error. I swear to God, they will go to take the bucket off, they'll have the bucket curled down on the ground, they'll go to unpin it, they won't give it, they won't give it the machine any respect and lift it up, so it's working. It can't get the pins undone. So then the pins might be 7/8 of the way out. They go to take it off, it won't come off, so they'll start banging the bucket on the ground. And then being that they're only 7/8 or 1/8 of the way in, banging it on the ground works, so they see that banging it on the ground worked, so they'll get to a situation where they hit the button, run it the wrong way, don't pay attention to it even unlocking, and you'll see them banging the bucket multiple times trying to get it to come off like an animal. We've talked about that before. But yeah, so we run into problems like that with bent pins, wiring issues, and what it boils down to is operator error. All right, so we'll just give you another little walk around of this machine. They had already changed the oil on it. They had done that actually just before they washed it. And for the most part, it's easy to work on. It has the oil filter is in on the left-hand side of the engine here. It's easy to get to. See that setting right in there above the starter. The starter is real easy to get to as well. We had to put a starter in a John Deere 326 here the other day, and it was a mongrel. Had to take the alternator out to get to it, and if any of you have put starters in any of them John Deeres, you'll know how involved that is. So we got the air conditioner compressor right there down on the left hand side. And we've got an accessory belt cover here. I'll probably need 2 hands to get this off. But this will allow access into the area where the alternator is. And the fan belts. You got the alternator right there on the top left hand side. Oil fills on the right. Fuel filter. Yeah. Pretty easy to get to everything, so I guess they kind of made this somewhat easy to work on. For the most part anyways. So I guess we'll have to see how this machine performs, but so far so good. Radiator's in on the top of the engine, fan, and whatever is run horizontally on the top of the engine, so that kind of opens up the area on the back side here. Fuel fill right there. So for the most part, seems like a pretty decent machine so far. So we'll see how it goes in the next couple thousand hours. So we've got to get on with the rest of the stuff here. So we're going to do an oil change on my pickup here next. We cleaned the grain drill out already, and we've got to get the chopper ready and do that kind of stuff. And yeah. All right. Well, we are doing miscellaneous oil changes and services and cleanups and whatever. And just changed the oil on this Black Theft 350. This is a 2022 model, and I rotated the tires. I should have showed it to you before we started, but I did have brake dust accumulated in the wheels there pretty badly, and I cleaned them up with some phosphoric acid, and they look like brand new. We've just got to go around them with a torque wrench, wash the windows, and this one will be done. We ended up giving it an interior cleaning as well. It wasn't all that dirty in here. This has 30 what the heck's it got for miles on it? I gotta look here now, but it has well, 30 some odd thousand miles on it. 33,000 miles on it. It's been a pretty decent truck. However, I noticed I got a little dent in the tailgate here. I don't know where that came from. Probably came from a stone in the driveway coming up against it. And we have been servicing skid steers right along, or at least Jacob has been. Is this the last one you got to do?
Yeah.
How many have you done?
Everything.
Everything?
2, 4, 6.
6 of them. Which has been the easiest one to do so far?
318s.
318s are easier?
Yeah.
Easier than the Bobcat?
Yeah.
You think so? Why?
Because the oil filter is right inside.
Okay.
So it's hard to get it.
Hard to get the oil filter on the Bobcat? Yeah. What about the oil drain on the Bobcat? You gotta take a skid plate off?
Yeah, it's a long skid plate down here, but I need to pick the jack up the skid steer for get it.
Okay.
It's hard to forget the drain too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh, I'm surprised to hear you say that. I thought well, I was looking in on that Bobcat here earlier on. That starter is right there. Starter on these bastards are horrible to get to.
Oh.
Yeah, but
But it's not hard. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's not hard to do with the oil change, but well, we're gonna keep at it here. We've got to pull the grain head in here next and do some work to that. All right, so we have the wheels all torqued. It's cleaned up, windows are washed and what have you. That'll be good for another 6 months. So what we have in here now is the grain head, and we've got new sheet metal pieces. There's 3 of them across here, and I should have a new segmented section to go on there as well. So Sarah's got some of these bolts out, but there's some of them that aren't cooperating, and we're gonna have to dig them out. I'll just weld a nut on them and pluck them out of there. So that's what we're gonna work on here next. Well, we had a quick rain shower move through. Alex pulled in and she has a wheel seal gone. So she's hooking the other Freightliner road tractor up here now. And we've got a rear oil seal on this wheel assembly here that we need to address. So we'll get the wheels off, get it all apart. This truck is ready for tires too, so we're gonna go ahead and throw a set of tires on it as long as it's in here. So we'll get tearing this apart here. Alright, we've got those tires removed, and you can see there's quite a bit of oil that has come out of that wheel seal. The outside wheel pretty well chooched up. The inside's got a fair amount of tread on it. This front axle is decent. This back axle here is not bad, I guess. Well, that's down there. But with the fenders on there, it's kind of hard to tell. I guess we got 3 decent tires out of the 8 that are in good shape. So we'll save the 3 oddballs, and then we're gonna put all, we'll dismount them and save them. But we might as well put a fresh set of recaps on here. So we'll get this tore apart and get wheels or tires going on this as well. So we'll get the air evacuating out of them, and then we'll get this tore apart.
so now take
To get the tube out.
okay. So just check where in the tube
Yeah,
is
yeah.
fucked up and feel the tire of the rim.
See how the tire and the rim, maybe the tire got injured Oh, two got injured going back together.
Okay.
Maybe you don't find nothing, but. All right, so we've got this apart, and the brake pads, they ain't that bad, but the rotor has a crack in it. So actually, it might have a couple of cracks. One right there. I'm gonna say there's another one right here. We'll have to disassemble that, get a new rotor for it. We might as well put a new set of pads on this wheel as well. Too.
Good thing I got two.
Yeah. Alright, so we've got the rotor removed from the drum, or from the hub. And this had a few cracks in it. One there, one there. Like 3 on the outside, they're more predominant. There, here, yeah. So we'll get a new rotor bolted onto that hub, and we can get our hub going back together, get it back on the truck. This front hub has got a little dribble mark down the back side of the tire as well. Just barely see that. So we're gonna do that one too, and it's looking like we're probably going to put brake pads on all 4 positions. These brake pads here aren't in the greatest shape. They're not worth putting back together. So the outside one is a little worse than the inside, but we'll have to yeah, get some more parts here going into this unit. So we'll keep after it.